Oh, hi there. Let's talk about IELTS writing. I took IELTS 3 times and now I'm ready to share my tips with you. Maybe they will help you prepare for your test and get a high result. Also, if you need further practice with the writing and speaking parts, please check out my platform below. There you can see the real IELTS topics and submit your writing and speaking for review and grading. Now let's talk about IELTS General Writing Part 1. The first thing you need to know is that there is a time limit. You will get 1 hour to complete both parts of the writing. This is only part 1. Because the second part, which is the essay, takes longer and is graded higher, you should not spend more than 20 minutes on the first part so that you could have 40 minutes to spend on your essay. Out of those times, leave 2 minutes in the beginning to prepare for your writing and 2 to 3 minutes at the end to proofread everything that you have written. The first part is worth around 30% of your final grade and the second part is worth around 70%. So, what is inside IELTS General Writing Part 1? You will be given some information and then asked to write a letter requesting more information, asking or answering questions, clarifying things, or filing a complaint. Generally, you will write about everyday situations and common topics, including daily life such as renting, communicating with friends and family, work, and education. Here are some examples of topics you might get. You're applying for a job and need a letter of reference. Write a letter to a former teacher. In your letter, give details of the job, explain why it is important to you, and suggest what information your teacher could put in the reference. Another example is, work is being done on the street where you live, the noise is disturbing you. Write a letter of complaint to your local council. In your letter, introduce yourself, explain what the problem is, and suggest solutions to the problem. A more informal topic could look like this. You have organized to go on a holiday with your friend. However, you must change your plans. Write a letter to your friend. In your letter, tell them how much you are looking forward to the holiday, explain why you must change your plans, and suggest alternative arrangements. And the last example here, you recently ordered something online. When the delivery came, it was not complete. Write a letter to the company. In your letter, explain what you ordered and what was missing from your delivery. Explain the importance of this delivery and ask for a replacement item to be sent. As you can see, all topics include a bullet list of 3 things you need to cover in your letter. It is important to go over each and every one of them. The letter style can range from formal to informal. If you're writing to your friend, you can be more relaxed in your style of writing. If you're contacting a company or a workplace, you need to sound more professional. Your letter should be at least 150 words. That is the minimum amount. If you write less than that, you will lose points. There is no upper limit, but usually in language exams you shouldn't exceed it by 50%. So on average, your letter should be between 150 and 225 words. In order to avoid confusion about how do you count the words, avoid using shortened versions like I'm or his. Instead, use 2 words, I am and he is. What to pay attention to in the first part of IELTS General Writing. Tenses. Use as many tenses as you can, keeping in mind what the task asks you to do. Describing past events requires different past tenses, request for information, present and future tenses, etc. Make sure to use the correct style of the letter. If you are asked to contact a friend, do not use complicated sentence structures and formal words. If you are writing to your manager, use appropriate work language. Stick to the letter format or email format. Have a greeting, you don't need to include an address, several paragraphs, and closure. Start each paragraph with a new line and finish your letter with appropriate closing. Yours faithfully, yours sincerely, best regards, etc., and your name. Don't forget to use linking words to connect your thoughts. And make sure your letter is connected to the given information. Use the same characters and information from the assignment. You are free to make something up, for example, names of people and places, but it should be connected to the topic of the task. Let's look at examples again. You're applying for a job and need a letter of reference. Here you don't have any information about the job you're applying for, so you're free to choose any career. You also don't have any information about the teacher, and again you can add extra details. Work is being done on the street where you live, the noise is disturbing you. We again don't know what work is being done, so use your imagination. Is it road work? That is all for the first part of IELTS General Writing. Now let's do the academic one. Same thing here, you get 1 hour to complete both parts of the writing. And again, the second part is the essay, which should take around 40 minutes, so spend around 20 minutes on this first part. Here, you will be given a chart, a graph, a table, or a diagram, and asked to describe, summarize, or explain given information. Here are some examples of academic writing part 1. A bar chart with the expenditure of 2 countries on consumer goods, a line graph on consumption of spreads, a table with the proportion of income adults and children spend, a pie chart with total school spending, and a diagram with the water supply system. The writing style here can range from formal to semi-formal to neutral. Again, you should write at least 150 words. That means your writing should be between 150 and 225 words. What to pay attention to here? Keep the style academic and neutral. Do not include personal thoughts and opinions. That means do not include words like I, me, in my opinion, etc. Show a wide range of vocabulary. Use synonyms and complex words, especially vocabulary related to statistics, like increase and decrease and their synonyms. Read the task carefully. It has all the information needed for you to write a successful piece. Here you don't need to add any other details. Use linking words to connect your thoughts. Words like while, whereas, compare to, etc. Make sure your writing is relevant to the given information. Use the same information from the assignment, data and numbers should also be included. That is all for academic writing part 1. Now let's go to part 2. It is the same for both general and academic IELTS. Here you will be given some information, a point of view, a statement or a problem, and asked to write an essay discussing this topic. You should spend around 40 minutes here. The essay style is formal and academic, and you should write at least 250 words. Again, there is no upper limit, but usually in language exams you shouldn't exceed it by 50%. So on average, your essay should be between 250 and 375 words. What to pay attention to here? Tenses. Again, use complicated verb structures, even though most of your verbs will be in the present because you're talking about facts and opinions. So try to use modal verbs, conditional clauses, passive voice, etc. Show your vocabulary, use synonyms and avoid repetitions. Use specific examples to support your opinion and arguments. Stick to the essay format. Have an opening paragraph where you rephrase the assignment using synonyms, then 2-3 body paragraphs, and a closing paragraph summarizing your thoughts. Use linking words to start the paragraphs and connect your thoughts. Phrases like to begin with, however, nevertheless, to conclude, etc. Make sure your essay is relevant to the given information. Use the same information from the assignment and stick to the topic. There are 5 main question types you will see in essay tasks. Let's go over each one, because based on the type of question, you will need to structure your essay in a certain way. First is opinion question. It could be formed with such questions as, what is your opinion? Do you agree or disagree? To what extent do you agree or disagree? An example here would be, some people believe that school uniforms should be obligatory. Do you agree or disagree? Here's what essay structure would look like for this type of essay. The second type of essay questions is advantages and disadvantages. An example would be, mobile phones are more and more present in our life. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages. And here's the second type of essay structure. Here in body paragraphs, you would put 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages. The third type is discussion of both views. For example, some people say that it is better to get news from official government sources. Others believe the most reliable source to be the internet. Discuss both sides of this argument and then give your own opinion. For the discussion of both views, in the second paragraph, you would put your first viewpoint, and in the third one, the second viewpoint. The fourth type is problem and solution. For example, mass manufacturing of goods is introduced more into our life. What are some of the problems associated with mass production, and what are some of the possible solutions? Problem and solution type of essay, you would put problems in paragraph 2 and solutions in paragraph 3. And the last type is a 2-part question. For example, less and less young people choose a teaching profession. What factor contributes to this? And how will the teaching job change in the future? And in 2-part question, you would answer the first question in the second paragraph and then answer the second question in the third paragraph. One last important tip. Before you book the test, consider your typing versus handwriting speed and preference. So if this applies to you, book an IELTS test on a computer and practice in writing also by typing, not by writing with your hand. If you prefer IELTS on paper, then practice with paper and pencils. Pencils will be provided to you on the day of the test. The downside here is that you would spend more time correcting things with an eraser than you would on a keyboard. That is all I have to say about the IELTS writing part. If you have any questions, please leave them down below in the comments, and I will see you next time.